Hey everyone, welcome back to Spooky Mountain. Thanks for joining us again. I'm Steph and I've got Jordi here with me.
Hello.
And we got a fun episode. I hope.
Banger.
Yeah, banger. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
predicting
A banger.
there's going to be a banger.
What have you got coming up?
Oh, something super spooky.
Yes.
And Steph, you told me earlier that you're home alone tonight. So
Yeah.
your partner is away. So this
no.
is the perfect one to just freak the tits off you
Oh, shit. Okay.
tonight.
Oh,
yeah.
shit. Okay. Well,
It's very spooky. It's like a, not quite a cryptid, not quite a monster. It's a weird thing.
okay. I'm spooked.
You will be spooked.
Fucking hell. Well,
What do you have?
Well, look, we're doing a conspiracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought I'd do it because we had such good
Oh
feedback from the
my
Denver airport
God.
one.
Yeah.
Now this is on a different level from the Denver airport. This is
Mm-hmm.
like a roll your eyes conspiracy. It's so fun.
Awesome.
This one, it's super fun. It's
Nice.
just absolutely wild. So
Well,
yeah,
it's gonna balance out like
Yeah.
the scariness of mine, and yeah, yours can be a little bit more lighthearted. Yeah,
Definitely.
that episode, the Denver airport episode, is always
Yeah.
number one
Yeah.
for people when we ask people what their favorite.
Yeah, I was so
episodes are.
surprised. I'm like, look,
That one.
I loved it. I love the topic, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
good to know that people like it. So every now and
Yeah.
again, you know,
Yeah, you got to
drop
pop in
a
the
little
conspiracy.
So
Yeah, I think it's probably because people can relate to it a bit more as opposed to like, there's a big scary monster out in the woods.
Yes,
like,
that's
these
a
are
good point.
things that actually you can see at the airport.
Yeah.
And we don't know why they're there, you know. So
yeah.
it's
There's a
little bit
reason. There's a
more-
touch of truth to all of conspiracy. You know, it's like oh, that
Exactly.
I can see where it kind of came from and how it all began. So
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Cool. Well, I'm very intrigued. I have no idea what this conspiracy is.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm very excited
it'll
to
be fun.
hear yours. I'm very excited to just freak you out with mine.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, look, I am excited to hear as well. At the same time, I am quite scared because there is a loose giant cockroach in my house right now
Yeah.
that my cats were chasing and they lost it and I do not know where it is. And
Yeah,
it's
and
all,
you're
I'm in a very
sitting-
dark house. I
Exactly.
turned all the lights
Yes.
off to record because I'm a fucking weirdo.
That's what I was gonna say. You're
It's so
sitting in a dark room.
It's so dark and I've got a purple ring light looking at me and if a cockroach crawls up my leg while you're telling me your story, I'm going
Ooh,
to
baby.
just kill myself. I'm going to
I
be so
hope
scared.
it does. Or not because you're going to kill yourself, but
No,
because
yeah, I
it just
hope it
add to the
does.
scariness of everything.
Yeah.
So we don't even really have any like housekeeping to get through
No.
today, do we? So I'm just going to jump straight into telling you something. That
Okay.
when it happened, I was going to message you like straight away. But I was like,
Oh.
no, I'm going to save this for.
Yeah. We've got to get into
the
that whole
podcast.
thing, like save it for the podcast. Save
I
it for the
know
podcast. I know.
this
It's so
kind of thing
hard.
happens all the time. I'm like, oh, I've got to tell Steph, but then I have to control myself and just save it for episodes. So it was tonight. I was
Oh.
on my back deck, and it's already dark. It's nighttime, and it was kind of facing the inside of my house, and the glass doors were shut. And I had my head down and I was looking at my phone, and in my peripherals, I saw someone walk past the glass door, and I presumed it was my boyfriend checking on Panda,
Yeah.
which he never really usually does. It's like always me that checks on her. And I put my head up and I was waiting for him to come out because I was like, I was going to say, is everything okay? Because he never
God.
really goes in there to check on her. And I was waiting for him to come out, and he didn't come out. And I looked over at his computer, and he was just sitting at his computer. So something walked past,
Oh.
like definitely for sure,
Oh, that's
walked
weird.
past the glass.
Oh,
And
no.
it wasn't him, and it was kind of tall enough. It was like the shape
Yeah,
of
like
and height of him.
Did you see
ish, you know?
arms with it as well? It was just like the
No,
tall
it was just
figure.
because I wasn't even like focused.
Yeah, I
I was
guess
looking
so.
at my phone, so I didn't notice any arms or whatever. But I absolutely saw in my peripheral
Oh.
something walking past the doorway, and like to a point where I was like, "It's Phil."
Oh my
checking on
God.
the baby. No, my house is fucking haunted.
Can't
I
it
don't.
get out? You got to get a new one.
It's so funny because for ages I was like, there's weird things happening, but I just don't feel like it's haunted. I
Yeah.
don't get that.
You're
you know,
picking
that
up on it
haunted
more because
feeling.
now you've got like an outlet for it. So I think
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
same with everyone. Like I think, oh God, my cat's scaring me. Oh God.
You're already nervous.
No, I'm so on edge. I'm so on edge. He was just
Just
stretching.
relax, mate. Fucking relax, eh?
They look like ghosts.
Oh, they do.
My cats
Big
are white, and
ghosts.
because I'm in a black room, they just pop out of nowhere.
Yeah, the other night when we were recording our last episode, your cats like jumped out and they literally look like aliens with like big black eyes
Yeah.
on a white cloud.
Yeah, they look really fucking scary.
So
They
fucking
look so scary. Did you see my I've got it posted on our podcast page. I don't think I did, but I got my David Huggins print.
I saw that. Oh my God, I'm so chuffed for you.
Oh, it's so
Where
good.
are you going to hang it? It is like the funniest yet most awesome.
I love
picture.
it. Yeah, I was
It's
like,
so
I want that
incredible.
one because I really wanted it to have it above the bed, but I didn't really
Hmm.
think about it too much because I've already got these two artworks above the bed, and we've only got a certain amount of hooks in the house, so I can't really do that. So
Hmm. Yeah.
it will, when we move on from this house, it will definitely be above the bed. It's the
It's
one
definitely
where
above
his
the bed type picture.
the very first moment of him having intercourse with
Sexy times.
with the lady, the lady
Yeah, he
alien.
was shagging the alien.
Yeah, and it's a very long, like, landscape one of the woods, and it's just so funny. And I've put it up in the lounge room, and I just cannot wait till someone comes over and they're like, wow, what the fuck is
Your
that?
first visitor. Yeah, I hope it's someone very conservative.
Yeah, not that really many conservatives come to my house, but just the postman. I'm like, hey, come inside for a second.
Come check out this picture for a second.
No,
Because
that's
it's like
really cool.
complete opposite of a conservative picture because it's an alien fucking a dude.
Fucking a dude, yeah. It is so funny. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about, you should go check out our Valentine's Day episode.
Yes.
And it's a drunk as fuck episode, and Steph told the story about David Huggins.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really incredible alien love story.
Yeah, and I actually post one of the social images is of that artwork, but it's like the more larger landscape version.
Right.
But yeah, so that's up in the house, which is really cool.
We'll definitely post that on,
yeah, I
on the
should.
socials.
Yeah.
So I have to have a bitch about something.
Oh,
Everyone in my house is sick at the moment, aside from me.
Oh,
I
what?
don't know what it is, but everyone has gastro.
Oh, gastro is not good. Oh,
Oh no.
how are you? Okay.
I don't know. I have the immune system of a fucking warrior, apparently. It was the same as my partner. Like, he got COVID. I was
Yeah.
totally fine. But
Oh
yeah,
my
everyone's
God,
got
yeah, and you
gastro.
just didn't get it.
Didn't get it. My mum has gastro. She doesn't even live here.
Your mum has it too.
My mum has it. My baby has it. The boyfriend has it.
There must be
They're
some stinky toilet
fine.
times.
Oh yeah, I cleaned the toilet the other day,
Oh,
and it
of
was
course. Yeah.
it was a riot. It was an
Fucking hell.
absolute riot. So I'm very happy to be sitting here, about to be listening to your story, to get away from all the shit that is in my house right now.
That's so gross. Oh, that sucks.
I was saying to Steph earlier that doing this podcast is like my holiday away. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited to hear what your story is tonight.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get into it.
Let's
I
do it.
think.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this is
Oh, it's the conspiracy. That's right. Oh,
yeah,
yay.
it's the conspiracy
Oh, I
one.
can't wait.
So, well, this is all about testing what you really think the world is. We have been told that the Earth is a large rock
You are not.
floating around in space in orbit around the sun.
Are you doing what I think you're doing?
Yeah, I think I might be. Did you even stop to think for yourself and really look into it at all? Because the Earth is not solid. It is hollow, my friends.
Oh my god. No, this isn't what I was thinking, but fuck yes, I am so
We're
excited.
doing hollow Earth, baby.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh my God. Is there a lot to learn about hollow Earth?
yes.
So, if you haven't heard of this before, there is a theory that Earth is in fact hollow, and it's been officially a theory since the 17th century. So pretty much what you're picturing in your head is correct. The Earth is a shell, and on the inside, it's completely hollow. However, there is also the theory that the inside has another planet or subterranean realm inside. So it's like kind of inside out. The whole idea of having a hollow Earth has sparked some interesting concepts throughout the years. Novels have been written, films and video games have been made, comic books, new genres focusing on the subterranean world. It is still to this day a huge part of fiction in nearly every part of the things we consume. So, of course, most of us think of this as fiction or just an interesting idea that sparks adventure, but there are a handful of people out there still that believe in this theory. It's hard to really put a time on when this was first brought up, as there were ancient cultures that did have this belief of another advanced civilization living inside the Earth. Tibetan Buddhists believe that there is an ancient city or kingdom called Shambhala, which is located inside the Earth.
Right, because I've heard of that, but I've heard of Shambhala, but I didn't realize it was.
I had no, I knew
related
what,
to this.
like Shambhala's, I've heard of that before, but I had no idea what it was.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. In Greek mythology, they believe that the underworld would be a place when we die. That's where we go.
Right.
And our souls would be separated from our bodies and transported to the underworld, which is underground.
Oh my God. So it's like where people go when they die. It's, yeah, okay.
Yep. In Hindu mythology, they have the Patala, which translates to that which is below the feet. Patala is composed of 7 realms, which are layered beneath us. So 7 different layers of worlds.
This is crazy. It's like
fucking nuts.
everywhere across the world, like across the globe, that people had these beliefs, you know.
Literally all over the world. It's insane.
Wow, interesting.
Brazilian Indians as well, who live alongside the Parima River in Brazil, claim that their forefathers emerged in ancient times from an underground land and that many of their ancestors still remain inside the earth.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Ancestors of the Inca supposedly came from caves which are located east of Cuzco in Peru. And natives of the Trobriand Islands believe that their ancestors had come from a subterranean land through a cavern hole called Obucula.
What the fuck?
It's nuts.
Yes.
Mexican folklore also tells of a cave in a mountain 5 miles south of Ojinaga, and that Mexico is possessed by devilish creatures who came from inside the earth.
Wow.
So yeah, that's kind of a bit of a like ancient history, I guess, of all over the world. It's
Almost
just
it's everywhere. Yeah, and it's like different continents as well. You know, it's not just like this kind of like
it's a
one
very
continent
common idea.
Yeah, very interesting. And it's also interesting to think about how I know there's been like a lot of kind of ancient skeletons and burials found in caves as well. I wonder if it's somehow related to
they all
this
have the
belief
same kind of theory on a lot of things, which is really cool.
Very
actually.
interesting. Yeah.
So much further along now, in 1665, the non-fiction book Mundus Subterraneus. Mundus or Mundus? I'm going to say Mundus because it sounds funny.
Mundus.
Mundus Subterraneus
Mundus.
was written about the Earth's geography, with one speculated theory of an intricate system of cavities and a channel of water connecting the poles. The writer claimed that the Earth's center had a central fire, which is true, I guess, but also has a large, vast underground lakes and lava chambers. The North Pole has a large vortex that sucks the water down to the central fire, then heats that up. Then the water is then to be spat out at the South Pole.
This is very elaborate.
Oh, it gets wild.
Even more. Oh,
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I'm ready.
This idea was then further popularized by Edmund Halley's theory. Now, this man might sound familiar to some people. He was an English astronomer, geologist, meteorologist, and physicist. He also has the Halley's Comet named after him.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So his theory was that, yes, the Earth is hollow, but the outer shell is only 800 kilometers thick, which is 500 miles.
Right.
Then there is void. Then another 2 more shells that are all surround an inner core. So there's like 2 other worlds. It's like so complex. I'll add photos to all this as well for people. So he said that each of these spheres inside would have their own magnetic poles, would all rotate at different speeds. These spherical shells would also have their own atmosphere, which actually supported life. So for people that aren't looking at it, it's kind of like a way to describe like an onion. Like an onion has layers. Yeah. So, every second layer has like atmosphere. So you just remove it. So it's kind of like that. So there's one center of like the sun or this fire. And then
that's got its own kind
atmosphere,
of layer.
then a layer, then atmosphere, then another layer. And then I'm trying to do a Scottish accent. And then, then on the outside.
Good try. It's also detailed, and it makes me wonder how they came up with such detailed details when they didn't know.
Yeah, well, so how did he come up with all of this? Well, his reasoning behind it is that it was because he was getting some strange compass readings, and also he thought that the aurora borealis was created from escaping gas from underground.
Right.
So it's very broad.
Very, It's
like, so that makes sense. Broad. So that's exactly what it is.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
It couldn't be anything else.
You're just getting some strange compass readings. Oh my God. So it only gets stranger from here as we move to Clerc Milford, who was a French adventurer and lived with the Muskogee tribe. They would talk about their ancestors coming from the surface of the earth. So he led an expedition of hundreds of Muskogee people to a range of caverns near the Red River, which is just above the Mississippi River. He stated that there were caverns there that could easily contain 15 to 20,000 families.
Whoa,
it was that's large.
Massive.
Families, not even people. Like it was just
whole families.
Yeah. One of the most common beliefs is that the entrance to the underworld is through the north and south poles. There would be a large cavernous hole that would be a gateway to the underworld. John Cleve Symes Jr. was the first to really put that theory out there. He stated the shell we are on is 1,300 kilometers thick, so much different to the other one, which is 810 miles. But when you think about the opening poles, how big would you think that they would be? Like if there's like a gateway?
I would say, I don't even know. I'm going to say 10 meters wide.
Yeah, cool. So I wasn't thinking of something that big, but like enough to like put like, if you could lower like a big car down, something like that.
Yeah, just like a little, a portal.
Exactly.
Your regular old portal that you get.
Well, Symes says that they are 2,300 kilometers wide.
What the fuck? That's like half the globe's. It's not half the globe's diameter, but it's a big portion of
half the size of. Well,
that's huge. I don't even. I'm so bad at like.
I know. It's just
distance and maths, but it's big.
It's very big. It's like 50 hours of driving or something. I don't know. Like it's.
Why would you need it that big? I can't imagine why any portal would need to be that big.
Yeah,
come on.
So he also believed that the inner Earth supported life, and not only Earth, but every planet in the solar system was like this.
Okay.
Yeah. So Symes, he really believed in the hollow earth theory more than anyone. He would actually do lectures. He was publishing letters and campaigning all
that's
about
so
this
funny.
theory, trying to convince people to go to the North Pole with him. Really wanted everyone to get on board with him. So this is like the 1800s at this point.
It's amazing how people who are generally quite wrong about things like this are so convinced that they're right.
Yeah. There's a common thing with that.
Theme, yeah.
So he tried for years and years, and eventually he got enough people together who would go on this expedition with him.
Okay.
However, they now needed the funding from the government to go there, and they got to Congress, but they lost because they were like, "Oh, great, you've got enough lunatics."
I'm shocked.
We're
I'm
not
shocked
giving you
that
any
they
money.
were shut down.
So in the 20th century, the novels using the hollow earth idea were through the roof, all over them, with a slightly different variation from the next. We have worlds with nothing in the center, ones with only void, ones with a little mini sun in the middle. We've got ones with two separate spheres on the inside. Just insane. According to Peter Colosimo, who was an Italian writer and pseudo-archaeologist, a robot was seen entering a secret tunnel underneath a monastery in Mongolia.
Okay.
Yep. And also, lights have been seen from underground in Azerbaijan as well. So he's like written all these weird books and he's stating all this stuff that's apparently proof.
I understand where the pseudo architect aspect comes in there.
I love the robot scene in going into a secret tunnel. That just is hilarious.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like, there it is. I knew it.
Yeah.
Like,
the robot.
hang on, are we not discussing a robot at this point? Like, why the fuck is there a robot? It's so good. This then got the idea that UFOs or the ancient alien theory could be entwined with the hollow earth.
Yes.
Dr. Raymond Bernard wrote a book called The Hollow Earth, which is the first to really detail how these are connected. It was released in 1964 and talks about how the Ring Nebula in our universe is proof of existence of other hollow earths and somehow incorporates Atlantis and the whole origin of flying saucers. Like,
there's a whole lot
I feel like my brain would hurt if I read that book.
Yeah, I knew that like the ancient alien theory was gonna fit into this.
It'll pop up
somehow.
Yeah. In the 1940s, there was a series of short stories published in a science fiction magazine. The tales talk about a superior prehistoric race that had built honeycomb-like structures inside the earth, and their degenerate descendants, known as Darrow.
Oh, no fucking way.
I know, yep, known as Darrows.
The fucking Darrows. That's where they came from.
So they
People
actually
outside
lived in
of
the structures.
Australia may not even understand what a Darrow is. It's a degenerate, basically.
Yeah.
But you call someone a Darrow, like, oh, you're a fucking Darrow.
Yeah. It's like offensive to kind of call someone a Darrow.
Yeah,
it's just like, oh, you're a Darrow.
You're a Darrow.
So that is very funny to me when I saw that. Yeah, so they call them Darrows. So they live in the kind of abandoned honeycomb structures.
Right.
They also use the crazy machinery that the ancient race left behind. Mm-hmm. The Darrows use these to torment us on the surface of Earth.
Okay.
One of the torments actually described is voices that come from no explainable source, which is an interesting one. You know, I kind of thought about your episode of like the hum, things like that.
That is very interesting, actually, to think about that, because the hum definitely has that vibe of where is it coming from? It's almost
where they could be singling out certain people.
And it definitely sounds like something that is manufactured.
Yes.
Kind of natural, which does
very
slightly fit into this
strange.
category. Yeah.
And yeah, thousands of readers wrote to affirm that they too had heard those fiendish voices from inside the earth. So
Yeah,
they were like, I
right.
know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Oh.
The common idea is that the entrance to the underworld is through the North and South Poles. However, it is also known in this field that you can get there through Paris in France, Staffordshire in England, Montreal in Canada, Hangzhou in China, and also the Amazon rainforest.
Right.
And there's also believed to be a large tunnel system underneath South America.
I mean,
Look, we're just throwing things out there, you know? I mean, it's hard to really...
I wonder if
Good
this
point.
is like they chose capital cities to be the place, or
Yeah.
this is why capital cities were
there
built
to hide the
in
portals.
these, to hide the portals. Yeah,
Who knows?
exactly.
Yeah. So I'm sure your brain is melting at this point. And trust me, mine was too while researching all of this. It was fucked up. So a lot of what I've gone through so far is sometimes known as the convex hollow earth hypothesis, which means you believe we live on the outer shell of Earth.
Okay, right.
So yeah,
Like
there are
little Sims.
Yeah, we're on the
outside.
outside of the whole thing. But there is people who think that we are in fact living on the inside of these layers. Yes, which is known as the concave hollow earth hypothesis or
the plot
skycentrism.
thickens. Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of people believe. Well, I say a lot. I mean, I don't know
how many is a
I
lot?
mean, I don't want to put a number out there, but I don't think there's too many.
I mean, just because we see the sun and see the stars doesn't really mean shit.
Yeah. It's like the whole Bruce Almighty thing, you know. We're living in a fucking simulation, you know.
Not Bruce Almighty.
Oh yeah, not Bruce Almighty. What the fuck?
Jim Carrey. People are going to be screaming into their...
Oh no, people are screaming at their fucking phones
because they
right
know
now.
what it is. What is it?
Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. What did you say?
sorry.
What?
I have to...
Yeah. I'm gonna have a meltdown.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly have a look.
Jim Carrey.
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show.
How many people were just screaming then?
Screaming. The Truman Show. Well, we got there. Something like the Truman Show. So the person that came up with this whole idea is Cyrus Teed, the absolute madman. Like,
he sounds like a madman.
like the hollow earth theory wasn't crazy enough. He's like, you know what? Let's just fuck it up.
Let's just make it even more wild.
Yeah. So he came up with this in 1869 and called it cellular cosmogony.
Oh god.
He then founded a group called Khorasan Unity, which was all based on this ideology. It was then called Khorassanity. Yeah, Khorassanity.
None of this surprises me.
This is what I mean. It's a real eye roll of a time. So apparently they can validate all these ideas as they did their own experiments on the Earth curvature.
They did their own research.
Oh, yeah. Using a very special piece of equipment they made called the rectilianator.
That is suspiciously similar to the word rectum.
Yeah, rectum. Rectum meter. Rectum
Rectiliator.
Yeah, the rectometer. So the location for this actual religion cult, whatever it is, it's in Florida, and the building actually still exists. I don't think, but all the followers are long gone. You know, they're all dead now. This is end of the 19th century. So, but yeah, it still stands. Adolf Hitler was actually someone who was also open to this idea.
Of course he fucking was.
Of course, yeah.
Of course he was.
He sent out an expedition to spy on the British planes by pointing the infrared cameras up to the sky. He was like, I reckon we can catch him because we're actually on the inside.
Oh my
And
God.
he thought
He loved that shit.
Yeah,
like just a quick shameless advertising for everyone. One of our stories was Hitler and the cult. You should go listen to that. So it does talk a little bit about Hitler's obsession and
with the
belief in
weirdest
that
shit.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, it was unsuccessful, by the way, just in case anyone wanted to know.
I was wondering.
Yeah, he did not get did not get them.
I'm surprised.
An Apollo explorer named Admiral Richard E. Byrd. Now, he was put in charge of an expedition called Operation High Jump. During this time, he would claim he entered the inner Earth. This was a big journey to Antarctica, where they would be setting up training and research facilities for the American government. Lots of people are skeptical this was actually the reason for being sent there, as to what Byrd experienced has sent conspiracy theorists into overdrive.
Right.
Apparently, there is an inner world called Agartha, which the government knows about. Byrd had come across this in his explorations, and it is noted in his journals. Quote, "We are crossing over the small mountain range and still proceeding northward as best as can be ascertained. Beyond the mountain range is what appears to be a valley with a small river or stream running through the center portion. There should be no green valley below. Something is definitely wrong and abnormal here. We should be over ice and snow. To the port side are great forests growing on mountain slopes. Our navigation instruments are spinning. The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth." So he wrote that in his journal.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yes, this is actually something that I'm going to do an episode on, because this whole expedition, Operation High Jump, is crazy.
Right. I've not heard of it, but it does seem interesting. When
it seems very interesting. Yeah. So
people like this who, I mean, it would obviously be proven that he was an like a professional in this
he did many
field.
expeditions. He led a lot of them before. He was quite high up in the government. So yeah, cool. I mean, that's definitely something that we'll go into later on. But yeah, so he's done lots of expeditions, as I just said, but he always carried a journal with him. So he would encounter whatever he encountered, he would document. It's always written down.
Okay.
Yeah. So once he enters inside the inner Earth, he claims there were 12-foot tall, lanky beings that lived in there. They are known as the elder race, but also the term giant is very common. The animals in there are also on a larger scale. He claims the giants are highly intelligent and live up to 400 years old, sometimes even 800. They've got incredible machinery and are far more scientifically advanced than us. Admiral Byrd wasn't the only person to claim he reached the inner Earth. There are many more that suggest that the poles of the Earth were open holes that served as entrances to Agartha. This theory is still very much alive today. There's a YouTube channel called Secure Team 10, which is kind of like a conspiracy channel, but they claim that every single satellite image that we have of the North Pole shows a massive black hole or a blackout hole put there to hide whatever's underneath.
Right.
Which is a pretty strange claim.
Yeah, I have seen those kind of blackout areas on Google Earth, and it is usually over like secretive government like buildings and stuff. There's lots of different reasons as to why they might black it out, but also you just don't know what that reason is.
Exactly.
You know?
And not many people explore the North and South Poles, so I don't know, it's interesting.
It is,
does
something to think about for sure.
But yeah, so Earth is indeed composed of layers from the inner core to the crust we stand on. We know this thanks to Danish seismologist Lehman. So he monitored an earthquake in 1929. He determined the waves from the earthquakes and how long it would take to travel through and around the Earth in different liquids and solids. But yeah, from that study, we actually know how the Earth is made and what it's made of. So the mantle and crust are mostly of solid rock. Then the outer core is liquid nickel iron alloy, and the inner core is a solid nickel iron. The theory of having different gravity on the outer and inner Earth doesn't really make sense either with the whole hollow Earth theory. We know how gravity acts and that massive objects tend to clump together gravitationally. So for other shells to stay intact while being hollow on the inside or having a little sun, it doesn't make sense. The Earth would simply just collapse in on itself and fall into the pressure.
It would just crunch.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, though, someone has actually tried to drill a hole to find out into the Earth. But the deepest we have ever gone vertically into the Earth's crust is only 12 kilometers, which is 7.5 miles.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
Okay.
And that is to date. So it's called the Kola Super Deep Borehole. It was a project that happened in the Soviet Union where they attempted to reach the Earth's core. To put it into perspective of how far we got, the center of the Earth is 6,400 kilometers, and we only got 12 kilometers.
I didn't realize it was.
So we've barely done anything.
I had no fucking idea that it was that large.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
all right.
Yeah, so we've literally done nothing.
We've not even scratched the surface.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
literally.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, this was a super fun episode to do.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to come across all these different types of underground worlds that I didn't really think of much in the past. I have always enjoyed the whole underground fantasy, I think.
Yeah.
I do not believe in hollow earth theory at all. But
just as a disclaimer for
just as a
everyone.
disclaimer so everyone knows. But it did get me thinking of like a lot of stuff that I've encountered in the past of like underworlds. And it's funny, like we were talking about Skyrim before we started. And for me, the underworld Blackreach in Skyrim, I mean, that's a whole game in itself. Just it's massive world, and you could spend hours in there.
It's funny that you say that it made you think about a lot of stuff because it kind of made like, everything you said. I was like, oh yeah, that kind of makes me think of this and this. But you know, kind of like caves have always been seen as
entrances,
portals, entrances. Like they're used as burial places. They're very interesting places within themselves. And then there's, you know, the theory of like subterranean UFO bases, and there's a lot of things that seem to not necessarily come from these theories, but they do
you can take kind of bits from it all, and
they orbit the theory almost, I guess, like even if it's not involved with the theory at all, it does kind of seem to all link up in a way. There's this whole ancient alien discussion.
There's so many ways you can go with the hollow earth theory. Like it was very very hard. Like, you know, I was picking lots of little bits out to try and like do an overall kind of thing on it, but you can literally just pick one topic, like just even one thing. Like even when I just typed in not Shambhala, where was it? Oh yeah, no, not Shambhala. The other one, Patala, the Hindu one with the 7 realms.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, you type in Patala into Wikipedia, you'll be reading for hours.
Yeah, so detailed.
Very
and, like,
detailed. Yeah.
Complex. Yeah. That is such an interesting one because of the history behind it, like the ancient history. I am still just blown away by how far spread it is across the globe.
Yeah.
I love when that happens with all different things. It's like there's similarities everywhere, and where it may just be that there were people going like mixing with
Yeah.
others. But when it was kind of like in ancient history, it was quite hard to get to certain areas.
Yeah,
from
they've
where
all
you
got
were,
that
so
kind of same element there where they,
super strange.
yeah, I don't know. I thought, hopefully you like it, everyone.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Yay!
Yeah, it's
Good
freaky
job. That was such a
shit.
great conspiracy story. I think we're
Yeah.
definitely needing to do a few more conspiracies.
Yeah, I mean, even just from this alone, there's so many that I could pick out
So
and go
many.
into depth on, which is really
Yes.
cool. So,
There is one conspiracy theory that I'm not going to say what it is, but I've been really wanting to do
oh,
it.
I'd love you to do a conspiracy.
Okay, I'll do it soon then.
Yeah.
I'll do it soon. It is one that
I'll let you do the next conspiracy.
okay, all right, I'll do it next. It's pretty interesting. Don't fully believe it, but
Okay, yeah.
it is a very interesting one. So, oh baby.
Oh, God, I have no idea what you're doing.
No, so it's pretty creepy. So, all right, I'm just gonna jump straight into it. So get ready to. Hopefully, I might be talking it up too much. You might not find it spooky at all. So every day there are reports all around the world of supposed creatures and monsters, cryptids and aliens. But I don't think any are quite as terrifying as the being that I'm about to talk about. Well, Bigfoot and the Yowie have their towering size. Mothman has his glowing red eyes, and the Puckwaddies would just generally annoy you to death. This creature is different altogether. Not quite a cryptid, not quite a monster or a creature. He has a face that will strike pure terror into your heart in a similar way that the black-eyed kids do. Something that seems almost human, but not quite. Do you know just
I
yet?
think I know.
Okay, let's just wait and see.
Oh, God. I'm so scared. It is scary if it is what I know. Ah, go ahead.
The Grinning Man, also sometimes known as Indrid Cold.
Yeah.
Is this what you were thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fucking terrifying.
He's so terrifying. Honestly,
He
like...
scares me more than the Hat Man.
Oh, yeah, it scares me more than
Yeah.
the Hat Man too. Yeah, like...
Fuck.
researching this was just like...
Oh,
I'd be sitting there at night time, like looking over my shoulder.
I didn't know about him till I read the book Mothman Prophecies, and I was like,
Yes,
this
yeah.
is fucked up.
Yeah, well, I had heard of him before, but last week I did Mothman. I just did the Mothman as my story, and this is how I kind of got into
Yeah.
this information of the Grinning Man. Like, I had already heard about him before, but I always thought of him as like a creepypasta type character.
Yeah.
But there's many people that think that Mothman and Grinning Man are connected.
Yes. Yep.
So, yeah, Indrid Cold, let's just call him the Grinning Man right now. Sounds pretty friendly, right? He's grinning. He must be pretty happy about something. But not everything is quite right about the Grinning Man and his horrifying smile. He's been known to enter your home at the dead of night and sit on the end of your bed watching you sleep. You wake to see what looks like a man that's about 7 foot tall, with broad shoulders and a fairly muscular physique. His eyes are small and beady, and often described as being too far apart.
Oh, fuck. I hate that.
And his eyes, they're too far apart.
I just think of Sid the Sloth, though. I can't help it.
Kind of made me think of Voldemort a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is scary, yeah.
Because his eyes, they also sit on either side of a shallow, almost non-existent nose.
Oh.
So this is quite Voldemort-y,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
He has absolutely no hair, not on his head, chin, face, nowhere. And according to witnesses, he wears a skin-tight, reflective one-piece suit. Discotheque.
Yeah.
So his face is quite off-putting. But the one thing that makes him truly terrifying is his grin. He's always sporting an unnaturally large smile, a grin that seems inhuman. This grin is by far what witnesses find the most disturbing thing about him. Also because it isn't a friendly or warm smile. It's a smile of pure evil and menacing. When you wake to see him already sitting on the end of your bed, you will see him there grinning at you. But his eyes are not grinning. They are staring emptily at you.
Oh, no.
So he's definitely like the one character in the paranormal or entity in the paranormal world that I just imagine seeing that at the end of your bed in the middle of the night. Like, I couldn't imagine anything more terrifying.
So glad I'm going to bed by myself tonight. I'm so excited.
I know. I'm so excited that you're there alone. And, you know, just like the black-eyed children from the story that Steph told in one of our recent episodes, when you come across the Grinning Man, you will experience a feeling of pure terror and dread. Absolute anxiety, as if you are staring death in the face. But before I go any further, I'm going to tell two of the most well-known and terrifying encounters with the Grinning Man. So, the earliest reported sighting of the Grinning Man occurred in Elizabeth, New Jersey, on October 11th, 1966. It's late at night, around 9:45 p.m., when two boys named Martin Munoz and James Yankitis are making their way home on foot after just seeing a movie at the local theatre. They're walking along New Jersey and 4th Street before they turn down an adjacent road and eventually found their way under an elevated toll road, which is called the New Jersey Turnpike. As I said, it's dark and late at night, being almost 10 p.m. by this point, and this area of New Jersey at this time was not the best place to be after dark.
Oh, God.
Especially for two young boys making their way home alone along busy roadways. The traffic above them on the tollway is deafening. If you just imagine here in Australia, it's like a motorway almost. So very, very busy, lots of cars, non-stop cars, So they have the loud noise above them, yet the way they are walking underneath the toll road in a tunnel is exceptionally dark, with only a tiny bit of light shining down from the streetlights above.
That's
Super
creepy.
creepy. Yeah, and these are young boys, you know, it's not the best place to be.
I'd be every time I walked home when I was drunk, I just pick up the biggest stick I can find. You ever do that? You're just walking around like trying to make yourself like loud and look like a psycho.
I've done the stupidest shit. It's not even stupid. It's like I've done the just wildest shit while walking home alone. Like pretended I've been on the phone.
Yeah, the phone calls. Yeah.
Yeah, I had my keys ready in my you know, in my knuckles. So along their walk through the pathway underneath the road, they were guided by an old chain link fence. So they were following this fence along the length of the tunnel as they were walking. While they were walking through the tunnel, it came up in conversation about how earlier that day there had been talk of a woman in the area who had been chased by a huge man wearing a one-piece suit.
Fuck that shit.
Like a huge man.
A huge man in a one-piece suit, like
what the fuck?
Oh.
The two boys quickly decided that talking about this was too spooky for their dark nighttime stroll, so they quickly changed the conversation to something a bit more lighthearted. They had finally almost reached the end of the tunnel, both of them relieved because their nerves were starting to get the best of them, but before they emerged from the tunnel, they noticed something strange. There was something standing in the bushes on the other side of the chain link fence just ahead of them. James nudged his mate and said, "Who's that?" It wasn't until Martin turned around to look what was behind him that they noticed the incredible size of this man behind the fence.
Oh my God.
About 7 foot tall and very well built. He was wearing a green reflective one-piece suit
Why is
his
he doing
disco
this?
suit, you know?
Yeah.
And his entire focus and attention was on the house sitting across the road, directly in front of his gaze, about 200 meters from where the boys were. At first, he didn't notice the boys. He was just fixated on the house in front of him.
That's kind of scarier.
It
in a
is,
way.
yeah, just not even able to.
Yeah, because you can
change
like
that
properly look
focus.
at him and not.
And he's just staring.
Yeah.
But then he turned his head and showed his terrifying, grinning face to James and Martin.
Oof.
And they just fucked right out of there. When being interviewed about their experience, the boys said that this man was the most hulking man they'd ever seen, and also the weirdest that they'd ever seen. His face didn't even look human.
Oh.
The two wasted absolutely no time piss bolting as far and as fast as they could away from just the most terrifying and horrifying thing that they'd ever seen. And as fate would have it, John Keel, who is a famous author and UFOologist, was in the area at the time, and he decided to check out the spot where the boys saw the man. And he also decided to interview the two boys separately.
Yeah.
Both boys independently gave exactly the same story consistently with the exact same detail, and they both indicated the same place where they saw the entity near the tunnel. So they had the exact same story, same details, everything pointed to the same spot. Nothing wavered at all.
Yeah.
So John Keel, who interviewed the boys, he was actually in the area because he was investigating a UFO sighting that happened on the same evening as James and Martin's encounter, just 40 miles north of Elizabeth. It was a police officer and his wife who said that they witnessed a blurry white light as big as a car appear and then disappear over a hill not far from them. The two other police officers on the other side of the hill reported that they saw it as well as at the exact same time.
Oh, shit.
These two cops said that the light was so bright that it blinded them when they stepped out of their car to investigate. This is not the first time that a UFO has been seen on the very same night and the same area generally as a Grinning Man encounter. In fact, majority of the time, these two things will occur side by side, leading many to think that the Grinning Man is in fact some
An alien.
an extraterrestrial. Yeah, because they go hand in hand, like they always coincide with each other.
I mean that does make sense. That's a bit fucking weird.
It's so strange. It's almost like the cattle mutilation
Yeah.
coinciding with UFO sightings and orbs and stuff like that. So the second eyewitness to the Grinning Man occurred less than 2 weeks later than our first encounter, about 500 miles, which is about 805 kilometers away from Elizabeth, New Jersey, which is where our first encounter took place. So sewing machine salesman Woodrow Derenberger was driving along Interstate 77 when he witnessed a bizarre vehicle landing in front of his truck with a loud crashing sound. He described it as looking like an old kerosene lamp chimney that flared at both ends, narrowing at a small neck and then enlarging into a bulb in the center. As he stopped his truck, a hatch in the strange vehicle in front of him opened and a tall and very tanned person emerged.
Okay.
Woodrow described the entity as having elongated, wide-set and beady eyes with a terrifying, wide, creepy grin. He also said that the entity was wearing a metallic one-piece suit, which is starting to become a trend.
He just
here with
knows
these
his style.
encounters.
He's just rocking with it.
Fucking stylish, you know? Oh, yeah. So Woodrow said that after the creature emerged, it approached his truck and then it communicated with him telepathically. The man asked about the distant glow in the horizon, not realizing it was lights from the city. And then the being said, "My name is Indrid Cold." This is where we get the name Indrid Cold from in relation to the Grinning Man. And the name Indrid Cold will become notorious for decades to come. So the Grinning Man is often referred to as Indrid Cold because of this. Indrid Cold then asked Woodrow many questions about the people and surrounding areas and many other questions that he had for Woodrow. He then thanked Woodrow and left in his strange craft, but not before telling Woodrow that he would visit him again.
Oh.
And apparently he did. Woodrow said that Indrid Cold visited his home on numerous occasions over the next few months after his first encounter there on the highway. And even Woodrow's wife testified that she had witnessed this entity along with others who had come to their home. And she thinks that the intention of these beings is evil.
Oh.
She did not get a good vibe from these guys. This encounter with Woodrow would happen only 2 weeks before the infamous first sighting of Mothman, which is really, as I said, it's so weird. And this is how I got into this story, was after writing about Mothman, and then I kept on seeing Indrid Cold come up, So 2 weeks after Mothman, so very strange. Many people have wondered whether there is a link between the two because, again, they tend to just coexist side by side. Because, indeed, there was actually a Grinning Man sighting on the outskirts of Point Pleasant as well, where Mothman is said to be and said to live. And this was at the peak of the Mothman reports as well.
Yeah.
All very strange. Out of all the Grinning Man sightings, the Lilly family, who is actually from Point Pleasant, definitely qualifies as the most terrifying. The Lilly family had been experiencing poltergeist activity in their home for a while, which seemed to have just begun out of nowhere. Suddenly, things were moving around the house, doors were being slammed, objects being thrown around the room, and they even witnessed strange floating lights above their house.
Oh, no thanks.
A lot of shit happening, yeah. So, however, it would be the youngest member of the family, their daughter named Linda, who definitely copped the worst of this activity. At 1:45 in the morning of December 14th, 1966, Linda came running and screaming out of her bedroom. She was petrified. She told her parents that she was awoken by a strange clicking sound, and when she opened her eyes, she saw a tall figure standing at the end of her bed.
For fuck's sake. Now, okay. So I have to sleep with the lights on tonight.
I knew this was going to fucking get you. Yeah.
That's a bit too much for me.
Yeah,
the clicking noise is really not okay.
No, just imagine hearing that in the dark. And anyway, I'm not going to instill any more creepy thoughts into your head. So it was a big man, she said. Very tall. I couldn't see his face very well, but I could see that he was grinning at me. He walked around the bed and stood right over me. I screamed again and hid under the covers. When I looked again, he was gone. Poor little girl. There have been many other reports of the Grinning Man over the years, but not all of them have been in the US. A woman in Scotland by the name Mary Elizabeth McCrae would have herself a very terrifying encounter that would stick with her for years. Mary lived with her husband, Alan, on the outskirts of a town called Dunkeld, which is a small village. The couple were in their mid-50s at the time and living in a home that was, for the most part, in isolation. Their closest neighbour lived about a mile away. On the night of 23rd of November, 1972, Mary and Alan went to bed at their usual time, that was around 9 p.m. Mary reported that she was awoken in the early hours of the morning by a bizarre clicking sound that disturbed her from her sleep. The clicking sound increased and got louder and louder, and it got so loud it was piercing her eardrum. And then, as she was hearing this clicking sound, something dawned on her. Something that she did every night as her before-bed ritual was to close the windows and curtains of her bedroom. She realised they were open, and she knew she had closed them before she got into bed. She did this every night without fault. The whole time this was happening, the clicking, she also had an intense feeling of being watched, and she felt an overwhelming feeling of fear and dread. As her gaze slowly reached the corner of her window, she saw a man with a wide, evil grin watching her from outside of her house through the left bottom window pane. She said that he had dark, beady eyes and a large, evil grin that looked almost fixated. As she stared back, she felt absolutely transfixed on this figure watching her, and she was unable to avert her gaze no matter how hard she tried. She then felt her whole body lift up from her bed and float towards the window, also becoming totally paralyzed. She then blacked out and had no memory the next day of what happened to her after her blackout.
Fucking shit.
And she woke up in the morning with an excruciating headache that would last a whole week. So Mary passed away in 2013 at the age of 94, and for the rest of her life, she stuck to her story and did not waver once.
Love that. Yep.
Love it, love it. Yeah. And she was just, old country lady from Scotland.
Yeah.
So, but that one I found particularly creepy.
That's very, very creepy.
Yeah, because that's almost abduction as well,
I don't like this clicky noise. I don't know if it's him clicking with his mouth or if it's with his hands or if it's just another noise.
And noise that's coming from somewhere else.
If it's coming from his mouth, that creeps me out the most. Thinking
yes, especially with the grin.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
very creepy. Or I wonder if the clicking noise is some kind of mind.
Mechanical. Oh, yeah. It could
not
be
control, but maybe control.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, something crazy like that. So, what or who do we think that the Grinning Man is? Is it just a regular guy who likes to watch and grin at people by the ends of their bed and through their windows? Or is it multiple beings located all across the world? And why is he or they grinning? Is it just the one Indrid Cold stalking all these different victims? We do know that whoever he is, recounts around the world have striking similarities. Weird beady eyes, a one-piece metallic suit, and a huge, malevolent, grinning smile.
Yeah.
Most people do associate him with being extraterrestrial. Some people who have had abduction experiences say that they've witnessed the Grinning Man during their abduction experience.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Also, many people say they hear a clicking noise before seeing him, either standing or sitting at the end of their bed. And that clicking sound does come up in many, many other abduction cases too. So one in particular was based in Italy in 1979, a man named Pierre Zanfretta claimed to have been contacted by a grinning man shortly before being abducted and taken onto an alien craft.
Wow.
He said that the grinning man who he saw and who was also there on the craft would only refer to himself as Indrid Cold. So Indrid Cold is not isolated to only Woodrow's experience.
Yeah.
Or even Pierre Zanfretta. There have been numerous reports of people meeting an Indrid Cold in strange circumstances such as these. And as I said, many people believe that Indrid Cold, or, you know, the Grinning Man in general, is somehow connected to Mothman.
Mm.
They both have the same level of strangeness.
Mm-hmm.
And some people even think that they are one of the same, coming from a race of shapeshifters. Both of these entities have had such a large amount of reliable reports from seemingly reliable people. And both seem to coincide with similar dates, along with similar weird lights in the sky as well. So whatever the Grinning Man or Indrid Cold is, I definitely do not want to meet him.
No, fuck yeah. Oh, no, that's the last thing. I would literally just rather say anything else than him.
Anything else. Because it's usually so when you're alone in bed, you know?
You're alone. The
vulnerable.
smile is so creepy with the dead eyes, and then the suit just throws you off completely. You're like, what is he wearing? Hang on. Am I meant to be scared, or is he trying to fuck with me? What's going on?
The thing is, because he does seem to be possibly alien.
Yeah.
It makes me think that they're making this grinning smile to try and somehow be more relatable.
Yeah.
But also, it definitely gives people the feeling of dread, anxiety, fear, and they say that it's evil. So is it like an evil race of alien? Is he evil? Is he just misunderstood?
It's interesting because I do feel like the extraterrestrial thing does make sense. You know, you do hear UFOs, aliens with like little bodysuits on, so that's something that I've heard. You know, then you've got like the whole dead eye thing.
Yes.
But mostly with aliens that are seen, they don't really have a mouth. But what I'm thinking of is like the whole Men in Black thing, where they have like fake mouths and they draw like mouths on themselves. It's some terrifying shit. So it sounds like they're trying to make themselves look more human.
Exactly. Yes.
It sounds really fucking creepy and
Very
evil
creepy.
and weird. Like,
Yeah, it's funny. Like with the research I did for this story, I saw a bunch of people mention like Men in Black, but I actually didn't look into that too much because I kind of brushed it off as like a wild theory for the Grinning Man.
It's all interconnected.
But it definitely seems like I may have like missed the mark on that one. It is kind of
it's a whole thing in itself, 100%. Like the whole Mothman thing with Indrid Cold, UFOs, Men in Black, it literally covers
interconnected,
everything. It's a really, really strange thing, and I mean, I completely believe people that see these things. I mean, it's so strange.
It's just strange. It's so hard. I think I may have even said this about Mothman and a couple of other stories, but it is hard to portray and explain the weirdness of how Mothman, UFO, Indrid Cold, or Grinning Man does seem quite connected, but it does kind of come down to the dates, the locations, sightings of UFOs on the same night or same time as seeing like the Mothman or, you know, the Grinning Man. But it is quite hard to portray that feeling of them being connected somehow, you know? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it's it's something that you do definitely have to kind of, I guess, research to kind of really realize how connected it all is. Because I absolutely believe they're all connected. I didn't think about any of that until I really looked into it and read the book.
I think this is something I'm going to have to do is just read that book.
Yeah, you won't regret it. It's insane. Yeah, I'm so happy you covered that character because it's
Such
so
a great,
a lot of people
scary
don't
character.
know about him as well. Like it's very yeah,
Definitely
it's not really
fringy,
talked about too much unless everyone really knows
Yeah.
this type of field. So I feel like a lot of our listeners are not going to know who that is.
Totally. Yeah. I had very briefly touched on the Grinning Man in my travels of the paranormal, but yeah, definitely just kind of brushed him off as like a creepypasta type character for ages, not even really investing that much in but I mean, there's reports all around the world that seem pretty legit, you know, so yeah.
Fingers crossed we don't see him.
Yeah, fucking hell. I feel like it's kind of similar with my Zozo story that I did. That I talk about it too much and it's gonna fucking happen.
Okay, well, let's move on then, shall we? Because I am
You're
home
home
alone. I
alone.
don't know if I have to say that again. Turning all the lights on when we're finished. Well, we had a really good episode.
That was so fun.
That was sweet. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Definitely check out our Patreon if you like what we do, because we've got a lot of fun things on there. We got vlogs. We do monthly vlogs, monthly blogs. We've got some exclusive videos on there as well for some of our episodes.
Yeah, our holiday episodes, which are also usually drunk as fuck episodes, we video, like we film, and then if you're on Patreon, you
get to watch it.
Yeah, and
just
it's
get drunk.
fucking awesome. It's so fun.
We've also got a Discord as well, so we've got a really great community of people over there. You know who you are. Thanks, guys. All of our Patreon members.
Thank you so much to our our patrons. We love you. It's so fun talking to you all the time on Discord and just talking shit, you know? Shooting the shit.
Sending memes and talking shit. Yeah. Doesn't get better than that, does it?
It does not. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. We'll speak at ya next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This episode of Spooky Mountain was created and recorded on land of the original custodians, the Gundungurra and Bidjigal people. We pay respects to the past, present, and emerging mob. My name is Jordi, and I'm a proud Gunya woman. Thank you for listening.